it's that time of the year. It's that time where people are getting ready to trick or treat. You're gonna send your kids out to trick or treat. The stores are about to be filled with all kind of goodies, all kind of candy that they don't make throughout the year. You notice they only make certain candy. Um, they only make certain candy during Halloween. You know, candies that you can fill all type of little goodies in a bag or something like that. But they're gonna make millions. They're gonna make millions off of Black and Hispanic people on Halloween when it's a holiday that you should not be celebrating. It's a holiday that you should not partake in. The original name for Halloween was Samhain or Saim. That was the original name for Halloween. And this festival, what it started off as was a festival, was celebrated by the ancient Druids and the ancient Celtics. And of course, they were pagans. So off top, this being a pagan ritual or practice was something that the Lord was against. The Lord was always against paganism and following the ways of what? The heathen, right? And so Halloween, it started off as Samhain, which was a, all type of festivals. We're going to get into it. Then Pope Boniface the Sixth changed it in the 7th century to All Saints Day, and then All Hallows Day or All Hallows Eve. And then today we know it as Halloween. All right. But it has a lot of pagan and satanic components to it. And we're about to get into it. The ritual sacrifices of Samhain. And so the archaeologists, they dug up these bodies and they started to realize something. These kings were sacrificed because they started looking at the clothes and they said, you know what? They're wearing clothes of royalty for that time. They saying that if it was a hard year, if it was famine, things was just bad that year, the people would sacrifice the king during Samhain. And they found multiple people in these bogs in Ireland. This is where Samhain originates from. A holiday that you celebrate, which is called Halloween, it originates from ancient Ireland. This was the time at the end of summer, the beginning of winter, right? And they felt that at this time, the veil or the door between the living and the dead was very thin, or it was open to where the dead could actually come and visit the living, or your dead loved ones could actually come and visit you. And so what people would do is because they knew the dead were out, they would put food outside. They would make a plate, put food outside the door for the spirit. Right? Go ahead. What you say?
There's even a Hispanic holiday called Dias de los Muertos.
Yeah.
Like that, Day of the Dead.
Right.
But they do the exact same thing.
Not only that, the East Indians, I believe it is East Indians, they literally dig up their dead relatives, take the clothes off, put fresh clothes on them, sit them down at the table with some food and everything, and they do this as a ritual. You understand? So these are practices that we were never supposed to do as Israelites, as God's chosen people. But people feared the dead, and these spirits, they would put food out for the spirit. But the thing is that they would leave the door open and then prepare a place of rest in a house for the spirit. Now I'm giving you the origins and the paganism in Halloween and why, as Black and Hispanic people, as God's chosen people, we should not be celebrating it. So people also feared the spirits, and they had legends of spirits that actually did things to people. So people would lock their doors, right? And you know why people were actually thinking that would happen? Because people was actually doing it. People were actually killing people. You got to think about it. You're a murderer. You're a rapist. You're a person that want to terrorize. You've been waiting all year to do this. Saim or Samhain, or what you know today is Halloween. You've been waiting for that time to do your mischievous deeds. to kill, to make somebody disappear, damn near like a purge. And people fearing these spirits, they said we'll dress in a way that we can look like the spirits, and so the spirits would not notice us. Keep reading.
Others put on the skin of freshly slaughtered animals.
They did what?
Others put on the skin of freshly slaughtered animals.
People put on the skin of freshly slaughtered animals. Go ahead.
Samhain was a time when masses of animals were slaughtered to stock up for the winter. And the first sound that marked the beginning of the celebrations was the squeals of dying pigs to avoid the touch of the wandering dead.
Good night.
People would take animal skulls and skins and fashion them into demonic-looking costumes.
Good night. So, I mean, it's right in front of you, but you people didn't dress up like superheroes. They didn't dress up like Wonder Woman. They didn't dress up like I don't know what is this? Moana. They didn't dress up like cartoon characters. They dressed up in animal skin. They fashioned skulls and animal skins into costumes to look like evil spirits in order not to be noticed by the spirits, because they feared the spirits, and this was a pagan practice. This goes back to Jeremiah. What is it? Jeremiah 10:2. People were cross-dressing during this time, and men would dress up as women and go down the street, and people would call them hags. They would knock on doors, knock, trick or treat, to ask for hospitality. I know they wasn't just asking for you to treat them good. I know that. All Saints Day, All Hallows Eve turned into Halloween, and it was here in America because Halloween actually got here through Irish immigrants, right? In the United States, the politicians and everything, they didn't want to practice it, but eventually, like everything, they took it on. And it says that the early 19th century, they was here while you was a slave, picking cotton and cooking and cleaning and nursing their kids. They was dressing as women, knocking on doors. So like, it's not funny, but I wanted to hit home. The LGBTQ existed before you even had freedom during Halloween, before you even had rights or whatever you think you have today. They already existed. You should not be celebrating Halloween. We're in a time of information. We're in a time where you don't really have an excuse not to know, right? But the Lord said he would send a strong delusion. So it says that the people, the legend of ancient Ireland says that the people had to give up 2/3 of everything that they owned, including the corn, the milk, and their children. They had to give up their children. So they had an ancient deity, a god, a fertility god called Crom Croc. And they would sacrifice the children to this god on Samhain or Samhain, or what you know today as Halloween. You understand? A lot of times in our we think we so goddamn smart. We'll say, well, yeah, I understand that, but I don't celebrate it for that. Just like when you bring out the murder of the Native Indians with Thanksgiving, and say, yeah, I know that happened, but I don't do it because of that. It brings my family together, right? But when it comes to the Most High, because the origin, because a holiday has changed certain things in the holiday throughout centuries, it doesn't take away the historical beginning of that holiday. The Most High don't, he don't care about that. This thing started with pagan practices, and the Lord is against pagan practices. The Lord is against the ways of the heathen. So you can chop it up and dice it up however you want to dice it up and make it okay in your mind. But what all you doing is setting yourself up for destruction in the end. So we're going back to ancient times. We're going back, we're talking about the 1200 BC. They sacrificed the firstborn to this fertility god called Crom Croc in ancient Ireland. Now, this was on the day of Samhain. They also sacrificed kings if the year wasn't a good year or if it wasn't good crops. They also sacrificed boys and threw them in bonfires. So you can see that the holiday that you know today as Halloween is filled with pagan practices and satanic instances. This is the founder of the Church of Satan, Anton LaVey. This is what he said. Basically said, by dressing up, either by wearing a costume or by coloring oneself in celebration of Halloween, signifies that you allow Satan to own you. He further said that when you adopt the pagan practices, you subconsciously dictate yourself to the devil. He took joy in Christians who take part in tradition, saying, I am glad that Christian parents let their children worship the devil at least one night out of the year. Welcome to Halloween. Now, this is the founder of the Satanic Church in America, and he is telling you that your children are worshiping paganism and satanic deities. Now, it is up to you with the information that has been given to you to make the choice whether you are going to serve the God of this world or the God that is to come. So you should make your election sure, and you should look at your family, and if you really love your family, you'll say, you know what? I love my babies, I love my kids, but we not celebrating Halloween. Last year was the last Halloween, right? And be ready to go through the fire.
The book of Amos, chapter 5, and verse 21. I despise your feast days.
The Lord says he despises our feast days. He hates these holidays that we partake in. Keep reading.
And I will not smell in your solemn assemblies.
And he said he's not going to smell in the solemn assemblies. You know, in Samhain, they had solemn assemblies. They had assemblies where they would burn fires, set bonfires all over the city. And every practice was different from place to place. But the main theme was always there, right? The Lord said he is not with that. He's against that. Go ahead.
Verse 22.
You can drop that. That was everything. Read it one more time.
I despise your feast days, and I will not smell in your solemn assemblies.
The Lord don't give a damn about Halloween. He don't care. You know what I mean? Like, he's against all of these holidays that America has given us. But you got to be the person. You got to be the one to say, you know what? Enough is enough. I want to serve the Lord. I'm not doing none of this anymore. You know what a byproduct is? A byproduct of serving the Lord is you save money by not celebrating these holidays, because these holidays make Blacks, Hispanics, and the Indians go broke, right? You would think it would push us to look deeper, look further, to learn more. We live in the information age where you got a damn computer in your hand, and you don't, you can almost look up almost anything and get leads to anything, tutorials and all of that, anything, but we don't know the truth. We don't know who we are. We don't realize that we are living a lie. We don't realize that we are in the matrix when it comes to these holidays, right? Give me that.
This cause God shall send them strong delusion, that they may that they should believe a lie, that they all might be damned who believe not the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness.
Right, because you have pleasure in unrighteousness, you are going to believe a lie. And that lie is that your child should be happy. Your child should get the best of everything. Your child should do everything that the world is doing. Your child should trick or treat. Your child should be able to experience the things that you experienced as a child, right? And that is a lie. That is a lie. Everything grows. Everything matures except for God's chosen people. Except for our spirituality and our understanding of who God is. It doesn't mature, it doesn't grow.
Leviticus chapter 18 and verse 21. And thou shalt not let any of thy seed pass through the fire to Molech. Neither shalt thou profane the name of thy God. I am the Lord.
So this is talking about Molech, but it's the same idea. See, with Molech, what they would do is they would literally put their children in the fire and burn them and sacrifice them. Now, we're going to get to the children's sacrifices, but what you are doing is you're pushing your child. It's like an initiation into being a part of, these pagan practices and being a part of the ways of the heathen, which is against the Most High. And even though it's not a literal sacrifice, you are pushing your children through the fire to be a part of these things. When you push your children to be a part of Christmas and to, what's another thing? Being in a fraternity, a Greek fraternity, and you push your children into doing these things that are totally against the Most High, you are putting them through the fire, right? And you ask the question, I always ask the question, are black people that know the truth, you get, brothers and sisters, you get frustrated with the fact that, like, why they don't see this? It's right in their face. Why they still doing this? You know how many people die on Halloween? You know how many kids come up missing on Halloween? When I was growing up, they had stories of kids eating candy with razor blades in it. Now it's fentanyl. Now they got candy now they got fentanyl that looks like candy. This is the funny thing. They used to say, watch out for strangers. If a man is trying to give you some candy, don't listen to him. Keep walking. Watch out for strangers. But then when Halloween comes, you send your kids to a goddamn stranger's house, to a goddamn Jeffrey Dahmer's house, to a goddamn pedophile's house. You see how silly we are? You see how gullible we are as a people? And you want to make your child happy, but yet you are pushing your child through the fire. You are pushing your child to be against God. And you love your child, but guess what? The Lord won't be with your child. That's something to think about. So in your pursuit to make your child happy, you just might destroy your child. And even more importantly, you remove the protection of the Lord. You understand? So blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, put down the holidays, put down Halloween, let go of Samhain, or as you know it today, Halloween, and keep the commandments.
I.S.U.P.K.